You're listening to M.T.V.B. Podcast. Movies, TV, video and board games. This show may contain swearing.
Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of the M.T.V.B. podcast, the podcast that talks about my four favourite subjects, that's movies, TV shows, video games and board games. I'm your host Anthony, as well as most people know me as the Ant-Man, and welcome. This week we're joined by the two-thirds of the People Minded podcast again. Guys, Jason, James, how are you?
Yeah, not bad, not bad.
I'm good, thank you very much. How are you?
Very good, so glad you can make it back once again on the show. And what we're going to be doing today, guys, are top 5 family games of all time.
Brutal games. That's what
Brutal games, is that what you classed it as? Family/brutal games. But no, thanks for coming on the show, guys. Again, guys, I really do appreciate it. Obviously, tell the people who you are, what you do, and how we can subscribe to you, please.
Oh, I guess that's me again then, isn't it? Yes,
James is pointing at you again, mate, so it's all you.
Yeah, I'm going to train him to do this properly, I think, at some point. But yes, we are the Meeple Minded podcast. We have a weekly show that comes out every Tuesday, or as and when I can remember to do it. And we talk about all things tabletop gaming, so wargaming, board gaming, role-play games, card games, all that kind of stuff. Mainly board games, if I'm honest, but yeah, we like to talk all things tabletop gaming. We have some topical discussions where we talk bollocks for a couple of minutes.
Yep.
And yeah, we also do some game highlights. So yeah, come and check us out. Find us on any of the social medias and all of that. Anywhere you find a good podcast, you can find us too.
Just type in Meeple Minded. Nice, yeah. Nice. So, you know, the rules, you've been here a few times now. We're going to do a few questions. We'll go to our top 5s. But was this a tough list for you, though, before we start?
I mean, I reckon it was tough for me, but I think it was possibly tougher for James.
No, actually, I got this list out pretty quickly.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I've definitely scrambled a few round, whatnot, and I don't know if you're going to be classing them as family games, but it'll be interesting. It'll be here to hear everyone's, opinions on this and go from there, really. So we're going to start with the hard question first, which is, what do you reckon qualifies a game as a family game?
Oh, that's a tough one.
I thought we'd start tough.
Yeah.
Work out easier.
Definitely starting tough on that one. I mean, I break everything down into categories, really, and for me, family games have to tick at least some boxes within my list. One of the key things I look for in a game that I'm going to play with my son, for example, is I would like a little bit of an educational aspect to it. And I don't mean, teaching him maths and English and stuff like that, but anything where he's going to learn new skills, so social skills, that's most board games, let's be honest. But yeah, social skills, any kind of history, mathematical skills, team building. So, co-op games are great as family games for me. So you've got things like that. Another thing that I think they do kind of have to tick, especially when you're playing with young children, is the amount of time it takes to play a game.
Sure.
So if it's going to be too long, it's a big no-no for me because, attention spans of children, not as good as mine. Mm-hmm. And mine are bad. So, can't be too long. I think attractiveness, definitely, for games, a good theme. Is brilliant for a family game. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, this one seems stupid to have to put it in here, but it's worryingly, we do need it in the hobby, but a game has to be fun.
Absolutely, yeah. That's the whole point of it, isn't it?
It has to be fun. So, you know, it's not that many tick boxes for a family game, but I think they are ones that they should be ticked, at least 2 of, for every single one. And I can safely say all the ones on my top 5 later tick at least 2 of those boxes, so that's always good.
Yeah, I've similar thoughts to Jason, though it's quite interesting, though, because I don't have kids.
Yep.
So when I did my list, I sort of tailored it to what most people, I think, assume is a family game, which is, you know, designed for kids. Reasonably simple rule set.
Sure.
Covering what Jason said about attention span, but also not too involved. It's quite easy to grasp general themes that kids will be interested in and that kind of thing. But yeah, because I don't have kids, and in our immediate family, it's me, my slightly younger sister, and my 2 parents. A family game to us would be things like Scythe, Nemesis.
Interesting.
Because we're all adults.
Sure, yeah.
And there aren't any kids involved, so...
But if the family's playing, is that what you're saying counts?
That's what I mean. It's like, those are games that we would choose to break out as a family.
Interesting.
Therefore, on a family game night, they are family games.
Yeah. Okay.
And as my dad...
I might join his family.
Well, my dad is a huge fan of Nemesis, like I am.
Nice.
And as he said, you know, the traditional family game used to be Monopoly, which usually devolves into massive arguments, flipping the board and trying to kill each other.
Yeah.
So we might as well play a game where that's the actual objective.
Yeah, we can actually just get killed, yeah.
But yeah, I mean that's the key thing, isn't it? Is what's a family game to you? And I know that you have kids as well, as do I. So we are probably the stereotype when we're talking about family games.
Yeah.
However, as James just said, he doesn't really have any. I mean, you've got your niece and stuff, but they are incredibly young, probably too young to be playing board games at the moment.
My niece is just coming into that age group, sort of 5.5.
Yeah.
So yeah, right about the point where simple board games are ready to be introduced.
Sure.
You know, and I really look forward to the day where my son is a bit older and family game night does transition into being something where I basically be playing the games that I'm playing with my normal game group.
Yeah.
So
sure.
That's the thing. It does depend on what you class as a family game.
Yeah,
because
I think ultimately it's like, even if someone said to me, "Oh, this is more of a family themed game," like those examples that Jason listed, that is where my mind would go.
Sure,
but we should sort of put that distinction in there. It's like it's always going to be different and based on perspective.
Yeah, it's the best of both, really, isn't it? When it comes to family games, so yeah, it's quite interesting. Yeah, it's because like Jason pointed out, that was pretty much how I personified them. But then there's actually your side to it. It's like, that's quite interesting because, like, you know, I've mentioned before, I've got my dad into Crokinole and all that, so that's more for the adults. I know younger kids can still play it, but I sort of see that as a family game that older can get into. And then I've obviously got my daughter and my niece that I literally, like, Easter weekend, I just got my niece into Skyjo.
Yeah,
and because you guys recommended that, I bought a copy of it, and like to do with numbers, it helps them do maths and stuff. But hey, great addition to giving it a go. So
there you go. I didn't even know you got that. So
yeah, well, I literally bought it after we played it from when you guys showed it to me. I thought again, my family would like something like this, or take it into work. Someone would like this, and my family freaking like that. So that's an honourable mention from me, by the way.
Yeah, sweet.
So that's quite interesting. So, do you guys actually like playing family games, or do you like to do it just to, you know, keep the kids quiet or keep your family members entertained, sort of thing? Is that how you do it? Or?
I mean, I would say for me, when the idea of doing, you know, family game nights and stuff like that, I didn't have high hopes for me to really sit there and go, oh yeah, no, I'm really enjoying this. However, once we started doing that and I started actually getting games specifically for it, I was finding I was actually really enjoying those games, you know, because I took myself out of the mindset of, you know, this is not going to be a medium or heavyweight game. This is going to be a lightweight, fun game that we're just going to have fun as a family. And I enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because I'd put myself in a mindset of it's a totally different ball game.
Sure.
You know, and when we actually had this discussion earlier, when we're actually rating games, and we get to rating a family game, we actually put it in a completely different category.
Right.
You know, so we might rate a family game, like a 7 out of 10, and then rate a heavyweight game a 7 out of 10, but they're not even in the same ballpark.
Yeah.
You know, it's completely separate lists. You know, this is the family stuff. This is the gamer stuff. It's not a gamer's game, and that is genuinely how I feel when I'm playing games with family. This is not the same thing. It's not like me going to a gaming club and playing this.
You're not being competitive.
I mean, I would still say I do get competitive.
Yeah? Okay.
But I find myself to be less competitive, especially if it is designed to be a competitive game.
Cool.
And I will touch on it a bit more later, because there's at least one game in my list where the game works in 2 separate circles. It works as a family game and as also a really competitive game amongst adults.
Okay.
So that's one thing I suppose I should have said I do look for it in a family game as well, is that can it fit in both circles?
Okay.
You know, can it be used in both situations? So, yeah, to cut the long story short, yes, I enjoy playing family games.
Fair enough. James?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to family games, or the traditional sense of family games, the ones that are on my list, yes, I would happily play with the gamer group as well as with like my niece or kids in general. But I think the ones that are really going to succeed in that area, as like the example I like to use is certain kids' films as well. You know, there's always the joke for the adult. Mm-hmm. You know, it's going to go straight over the kid's head, but the people who made this film know that the parent is suffering through it.
The adult.
And there's a couple of jokes in there that are aimed at the adults, and it could be the same with mechanics or something in the theming of that. If there's something there for the parent or the adult who's playing the game with them, then that's always going to be a winner.
Sure. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I do to keep my kids quiet, personally. No, honestly, no, because I never really got to do it as much as a kid, but I always wanted to. And I mentioned on your podcast before, Jason, where I used to grow up with things like Key to the Kingdom or Hero Quest, and I never really had people or parents that wanted to play it at the time, so I would just make a toy out of it, like, you know, like a little action-adventure thing. So I try and encourage my kids to, like, if you want to play it, or if you're in the mood to do, like, you know, if you don't want to go on the Xbox, you know, whatever, just come do something interactive, play a game with us or something. Yeah. And it's something I enjoy doing, so I have no issue playing them. I mean, if it's like, oh, not Panic Castle again, something like that, it's like, no, I want to play it because I want to get them into it as well, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. You brought up a very good example there. You know, my first Castle Panic. Is that a game I'm ever going to play with my game group? No, I'll play the proper version of Castle Panic.
Yeah.
But why would I play my first part, Castle Panic, when it is specifically designed for children?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, I'm not going to go taking that to a game night, for example, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy playing it with my children.
Yeah, with your family, exactly.
So, yeah, I think there are certain games that are a case of, I would play it to keep them happy.
Yeah.
But other times, not necessarily. It's because I want to play the game. And again, I've got some examples of that later on. So
we'll save it for then. So, over the next question. So back in the day, family games for me were always out on like special occasions, Christmas, birthdays, all that sort of stuff. How often do you guys actually get to play family games with the family? Obviously, not on special occasions. Do you do it more regularly now, or?
I would say it's definitely more regular than when I was a child. Because when I was a child, again, it was a Christmas thing. You know, the stereotypical Monopoly and other
Cluedo, all that
garbage
stuff.
like that. But I think when I'm thinking of my family game, is that I game more as a family with my son and my partner, and we game as a family.
Sure.
However, when I'm gaming with my family, my mother and my brother, that's still a Christmas thing. So that hasn't changed, really.
Yeah.
The games we play have, but that side of it hasn't changed. Other than that, with my son, I have him most weekends, so we generally get at least one or two games in the duration that I have him every weekend or for the weekends. So
good, yeah.
Fairly regularly.
So not just on the birthdays or anything, literally
no, exactly.
A regular thing.
Yeah, and it's gotten to the point, it's really nice to see as well, like he'll come over, he'll ask to play.
Yeah.
To play a game, and it's like, who am I to say no to that? So yeah, it's nice to see that he'd rather play a game with his family than sit and watch YouTube
reruns of stuff,
of cartoons and stuff like that. So that's good.
Yeah, at the moment for me, again, childless. So gaming with the family does tend to be those special occasions. But
sure,
it's purely because that's when we're all together.
Yeah,
and actually have time. Though, as I mentioned earlier, it's like my niece is coming into that age where she will potentially be interested in board gaming. And now that my mum is retired, she will be looking after her quite a lot. So it's something I'm hoping to introduce her to.
So nothing just yet, but hopefully
in the near
future.
Yeah, we'll start introducing the lightweight games.
Nice.
Start watching the games in my collection is what you're saying there.
Yeah.
They might start going missing.
Might be the occasional, can I borrow?
Yeah, definitely. Which, again, I'm more than happy to do.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, we've still got somewhere the little games cabinet I had, because I was quite lucky with that. We did play board games when I was a kid, the real traditional, it's the Snakes and Ladders, all that kind of stuff. That cabinet is still there in our front room.
Oh, no way.
So...
Nice. Yeah, get the old drafts, chessboard out, Snakes and Ladders. Yeah. It's a game at the end of the day.
Who doesn't love a bit of checkers?
I fucking loved it back in the day. Definitely. So obviously when you're introducing games to your family, do you like introducing new stuff to your family, or are you worried what you might bring to the table they'll just like straight away and be like, oh, can't be bothered now?
I wouldn't say I'm worried about it. I am very selective over what I would and wouldn't introduce to the family. Like I said, my immediate family, mother, brother, they're sort of they're not gamers, so it's pretty easy stuff. Gateway, maybe a bit of Gateway Plus.
So nothing over too complicated or anything.
Especially for my mother, I'd probably say Wingspan is a push for her. So it's very, very specific what I would introduce with that. Party games, definitely, they're into that, especially at Christmas. As for my son, he will literally try everything. And, we had him at our game club a couple of weeks ago, and he was trying his hardest to try and get in on a game of Kingdom Death Monster. I was like, you can't play that. One, you won't understand what the hell's going on, and two, just no.
But the fact he's intrigued, though, must say something to you.
Yeah, and it's. I think it's more a case of, there's a game going on, I want to play it. But yeah, I would happily try anything with him. He may not enjoy it. Again, theme is a big thing. I think when I'm playing with him. So yeah, Kingdom Death Monster. He probably saw the miniatures and went, "Ooh,
that's pretty freaking cool."
So
that's how it starts, mate.
Would I start him on a game like that? No, I wouldn't. Just looking at
we'll just put him on Warhammer straight away.
Exactly, yeah. Just looking at sort of your collection there, is like, he would love to sit and play Marvel United. Whether he would understand it or not at this current point, probably not. Yeah. But I don't think we're too far away from that.
Oh, well, there you go.
And he is getting used to it, so we shall see. But to answer the question, no, I don't fear, introducing new games, but I am far more selective over which ones I would recommend people play. So
yeah, my family's quite easy. Like I said,
they're playing Cyber Nemesis, mate. I wouldn't be worried at all.
Exactly, and they're not game. I would like to stress this: they are not board game. They had no idea what these games were before I introduced them to them. But yeah, I know my family well enough to go, they will like this. They like the complex heavyweight games. I mean, even my niece picks up my box of Nemesis. Can I play this? It's like, it might be a bit advanced. Yeah. And I'm not quite sure the theme is.
But she's showing interest, mate. That's the thing.
Yeah. Well, we've had this discussion many a time, haven't we? Miniatures, always an attention grabber. It's like, but I don't think the theme is quite suitable for a 5-year-old.
Yeah, I'll only 5. Wow. Yeah, maybe not then. I mean, I think I kind of. I'm not sure if I worry too much. I think I just worry about explaining them personally.
Yeah.
Like simple little things. Like I had a copy of a game called Land vs. Sea, if you know that recently. Yeah. And just trying to explain it to my dad, it's like, took a couple of times, but then when he's got into it. But I just always worry sometimes, Like even some of the simplest things might seem a bit too much for people. And my dad's in his 60s at the end of the day, so
well, like you say, it's game mechanics. It's to you and me. I could sort of say, "Oh, deck building," and we all go, "Oh, yeah, easy." They all tend to be about the same. But you try and teach something like Furnace to someone who doesn't play board games, and you're basically trying to teach deck building.
Yeah.
To someone who has no idea what you're banging on about, doesn't know any of the terminologies, and then you've just sort of, oh, actually, maybe this isn't so.
Sure.
Appropriate. To introduce, but you don't think about that when you're so used to being involved in the hobby. As
exactly, what I was about to say.
Deck building's easy. I can teach deck building to anyone. When actually, no, you can't.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And we always talk about Gateway Plus, all that.
And you said you're like, right, now you do this, now you do that, and it's like, like you say, to you it's easy, but to them it's like,
bang, crack,
mind blown.
Yeah, it's that age-old F1 thing. It's like, straight over the head. You're like,
so I've got to use 4 of these to kill that thing.
Yeah. Why do I want to do that? Like, it's a bit of cardboard. Yeah, I know, but it's not a bit of cardboard.
Immerse yourself, for fuck's sake.
It's literally about to tear you limb from limb. Yeah, it's a bit of cardboard. No, it's not a bit of cardboard.
God damn it!
I see. Luckily, I don't have this.
James hasn't got that problem. Luckily enough,
I haven't got that problem. I mean, you should. I don't know if it's just something about my family. Like, as I go back to Nemesis, it's like, wait, the idea is to backstab each other, and their eyes just lit up. It's just.
This is going to come natural.
Just like Jason when he finds out there's a traitor mechanic in the game.
Yeah, it was like...
It was a bit more like Jason when he finds out there's not a traitor mechanic and he goes, I can install my own rules into this.
What?
We've done the house rule episode, mate.
We have.
Yeah, check that out if you need to listen for house rules, guys, on Meeple Minded. So we'll go to the final question here. Do you guys play any family games with your friends instead of your actual family?
Hell no, I've got a life. No.
Fair enough, James.
No, the honest answer for me is yes, I do.
Yeah.
And I will give more in-depth answer to that during the top 5.
Okay, that's fine.
We play a surprising amount of what would be classed as family games.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that, to be honest.
Yeah, and same with me. Because I kind of actually play them with my friends first, and then, my friends have a good time with this. Maybe my family will actually like it, so that's how I'll put, go with it on that one. So that was quick and easy on that question. Do you want to throw anything in? Do you want to throw another question in? If not, we'll go straight to your top 5s.
I think we can start on the top 5s. I think I've got a bit more to talk about these ones. So yeah,
I'm intrigued now. Let's do this.
It's time for a top 5. Number 5.
So who'd like to go first on this one? Jason was last time.
I was last time. Would you like me to go first this time? Yeah?
Yeah, go for it.
Okay,
so... Clockwise and anti-clockwise. Is James going to be last this time?
I'll go this way.
We'll go clockwise.
Okay, clockwise, go.
Cool, right. So my number 5 is... Okay, so just a little bit of context on this one first.
Go for it.
I said earlier that education in games is rather important to me. It is one of my tick boxes, and this game definitely ticks that. And this game is called Cahoots.
Ooh, okay. I've not heard of this.
So this game is kind of a mathematical cooperative type game. And in the game there are 2 decks of cards. The number cards and the goal cards. The deck of goal cards is put together depending on how hard you want the game to be. There's 50 in the pack, so there's plenty of replayability that can be done.
Okay.
And you do something like 18, 21 or 24 objectives that you've got to complete as a team. And they are laid out on the board, 4 at a time. And then below that you have 4 number cards. And to complete the task, like for example, I'll give you an example of what the objectives might be. You would have something like 2 adjacent piles must be green in colour.
Okay.
Or the sum of all cards must be less than 10. Or exactly 10. And stuff like that. Just the odds random objective that you get. And in order to achieve it as a team, you get to play 1 card per person per turn. So, for example, it's got to my turn. I get to play 1 card from my hand on any one of the 4 piles. Say there's a pile of green there's a green pile, there's a blue pile, there's a pink pile, and there's a purple pile. I've decided that I've got a green 4 in my hand, so I can play that on the green pile,
Right.
or on any of the other colour piles that have got the number 4 on. So it's the same number,
Right. Okay. Yeah.
or a colour. And I've just done it, and I've created 2 adjacent piles that are green. I've now completed that objective. A new objective comes out. It's now the next person's turn. They do exactly the same. There is communication in the game.
Okay.
However, I'm not allowed to tell you what I've got in my hand.
As in your hand or the objective.
Of my actual hand.
Right. Okay.
So I could have 4 different colours in my hand of different numbers. I can't tell you exactly what I've got. However, what I can say to you is, if you can leave that pile, I will be able to complete this objective, or this objective and this objective.
All right. So
if you can
but
leave.
you're
that pile
all
alone,
together. You're not like you can bluff it or
Exactly.
anything.
Yeah, you're all together. That's just the one thing, is that I can't tell you I've got a blue 7 in my hand.
Right.
You know, that's not allowed. And yeah, that's the idea. But it's quite difficult because, like I said, you're not going to be able to communicate properly. It's tough because you only have a certain amount of time. You know, once your deck of cards run out, because we're all sharing a deck of number cards. Once that runs out and we can't play another card,
Right.
we lose. If anyone can not play a legal play, we lose instantly. We win if we complete all of the objectives that we've set out to win. It's actually fairly tough. I like the educational value of it because it's all mathematical.
So that one person can't do that on that turn. That's it.
That's it. You lose
Wow,
as a team.
okay.
So it is quite tough, but it's also fairly easy to do.
How many players?
Just love it. That is 4 players, I believe. Up
Okay.
to 4 players. It might be a bit more. I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it's 4 players. But yeah, it's a really fun game. And
Yeah, it sounds pretty good.
this is an example of a game that I really like to play with my family, especially my son, because it does help him with his maths.
Right.
You know, there's no sort of pressure to go, oh no, we need to play really, really quickly and stuff like that. Like something like the Mind, for example, it's like, oh, well, they're not going to understand that, and
Sure.
you've got to play quickly. This one, you can take your time. It's like, well, we know the sum of all things is 10. Are you going to add up the cards? You know, how much is that? You know, you can do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then learning words like what adjacent actually means.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of educational value in it. And it's a dirt cheap game as well. I think it's 20 quid. So
Not under 15, though. So it wasn't
not
on the
under
episode.
15. It wasn't under 15, so it couldn't go on the episode.
Right.
But
That sounds pretty good, though. I mean, I might have to look that up.
yeah, I'll like I said, if you want to give it a go at some point,
Yes,
I've
please,
got
yeah.
it, so
That's what this is all about. Recommendations. Get
yes.
to play new things. Please let me give that a go.
but yes,
Sounds good.
we'll make sure you get to go on that as Cahoots.
Hoots. Nice. James, you're number 5, sir.
My number 5 is Cobra Paw.
Never heard of it.
Cobra Paw.
Okay, nice.
It's a simple game.
Okay.
It is literally a bunch of domino-like pieces. They've got 2 symbols on them and a pair of dice.
Okay.
And you roll the dice, 2 symbols will come up, and it's first person to bang find that
Oh, in the whole bunch.
in the pile.
Oh, right. Okay.
It's a reaction game.
Right,
It's
okay,
literally,
right.
right. Find that. First person to grab it gets it. First person to having 6 pieces in their pile wins.
Okay.
Easy
That's
peasy.
it.
It's an easy peasy game.
But yeah, I can imagine
But
anyone
it is-
playing that.
It
Keeps them-
is so much fun. This is one of the games that we play as adults.
Right, okay, yeah.
It usually involves broken fingers, but
I'm usually told I'm not allowed to play
Yes,
this because I don't. You're supposed to do it with it's the
finger.
first person to get a finger on it. I go with a full clenched fist.
All right. So you have to. So the aim is to put the finger in it, or to actually swoop it out.
It's the first person to actually touch it with their finger because there's obviously there is tiebreakers,
Right.
but it's who's got their finger on it first.
Right.
and
Okay.
if you misfire and touch the wrong piece, you're disqualified from that round.
Oh, okay.
That
sounds pretty
and
good.
it's pretty simple. And then you take it in turns, obviously, to roll the dice.
So I imagine there's a lot of these pieces, these domino pieces. Then, or
I'd say probably 15. Something about I think it's 15
and you have to have 6 out
No,
to
there's
win it.
might be a bit more. Is
There's
there
more than that. It's got to be closer to 30 pieces.
Okay, yeah, so something like
Okay.
that. I can't actually remember exactly, but yeah, when you get the box, it's 3 or 4 piles of these things, and then literally the 2 dice. That's all that's in there.
Yeah.
The rule book.
The simplicity of it is how sometimes it makes it fun in the end of the day,
exactly
isn't it?
the rule book. I mean, it's
I can imagine it being super short.
It's technically a pamphlet, but literally the rules are 3 lines.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
You know, there's a bunch of alternative play, but it doesn't need it, to be honest. Like, the alternative play is things like, if you've accidentally touched another one as you're going for it, you're disqualified.
Okay, so special rules, basically.
Exactly, yeah. They're not super integral to the game, but really good choice. And I've got to admit, that was one of my honourable mentions, so...
Yeah.
Okay.
It was very close. It was very close to actually becoming number 4. So
It sounds really good, though. It sounds like a lot of fun, that, to be honest.
it's great fun amongst adults, and it's even more fun amongst children, especially when they try and cheat and hover over the table,
Yeah.
or roll the
little
dice
shits.
and
How dare they?
and try and block you from seeing the dice.
Yeah.
That's awesome, no.
So, yeah,
It's a good pick there.
my son loves that one as well.
That's another one you got to let me play again. So
Indeed. And yeah, that game is cheap as well. That could have technically been in the
could have made it the cheap games episode.
It could have done.
Damn. Didn't get no honourable mention or anything.
No.
Anything else on that, sir?
No, that's about it. I think it's... Is it 2...
How many players, sorry, is it, Max?
2 to 5?
6.
2 to 6.
Oh, wow,
6
okay,
players,
yeah.
that one.
Damn.
Yeah, it's a good one.
I mean, like I say, you're limited by the amount of pieces. Technically, you could have as many players as you could squeeze around a table and just
Oh, fair enough, yeah.
amend the amount that you get to win. Yeah,
Just what happens if, obviously, you roll the dice and the symbol's not on there? Do you have to just re-roll then, or...?
It just moves to the next
on.
person.
Yeah.
You keep
Oh,
rolling.
right, okay.
You keep rolling. So there, like, you might go several rolls of no, that one's already gone. No, that one's already gone.
yeah.
That one's already gone.
Okay.
Which it kind of adds to the intensity of it, because it's like, especially if towards the end of the game, and it's like, oh yeah, that one's already gone. That one's already gone. Your awareness is going down and down and down, but everyone's is going down at the same time.
Right. And all of a sudden, someone
and
throws
then
it.
all of a sudden it's like, oh, there we go. And all of a sudden the table
You're gonna need.
flips.
I was going to say you're going to need a damn good table for this. I'm sure.
Yes. Oh yes, yeah. I would. If you're going to do it on an unstable table, it's like they must be in the middle.
Yeah.
Because if it's on the side, the table will flip, because there's a lot of pressure that tends to go, especially amongst adults.
Yeah.
But the kids as well, they love to just whack, and
Like snap. No, wrong game.
exactly, yeah.
So yes, what was it called again?
Cobra Paw.
Cobra Paw. Nice.
Very nice.
Nice. Good choice. My number 5 is kind of both sides to it. Kids and adults can play this. And it's a game called High Score. Does anyone know of it? Played it?
I have heard of High Score. You might have to remind me which one it is.
So High Score is essentially just a dice game. You have normal dice. You have 7 of them, 1 to 5, and the number 6 is basically replaced with a vortex symbol. You do 7 rounds. You flip a card over, and it'll tell you how to roll that round, basically. Whether you roll as many dice this times, or how many times, or all 7 dice once, whatever. And it will tell you how to score. Like, you have to score in doubles, triples, numerical, like number 1, 2, 5, and whatever's left over is minus. What you do is you simply just take your marker and you score it on the scoreboard. Whoever's got the highest score wins, gold, silver, bronze out of that. And it's just really good. It's quite intense how to, oh shit, I've only got one more roll. I just need one more 5. No, that's going to be now minus 6 points off my thing. And the thing is that there's over like 30 cards, but you only do 7 rounds. So every game is different when you flip the card, and every round is different, and every way to score is different. And it's just a lot of fun. I find it quite entertaining. My kids like it. It's good, like you said, helping with numbers and stuff. Mm-hmm. My mum and dad, my brother-in-law, my sister really enjoy it as well. And just thought it should go in there, to be honest. And
nice.
It's annoying because I wanted it to be in the cheap games. I completely forgot about it. It should have gone in the cheap game episode, because I literally paid about £8 for it, and it's just all it is just rolling dice and just trying to score on that round. It's such fun, and yeah, I thought it should go at least on the family list if I couldn't put it on the cheap games list anyway.
Yeah, well, look at it this way: you've now got 2 games that you've highlighted to people for the price of 1.
Yeah, exactly. So
you're doing multiple lists.
Yeah, so yeah, I can't say any more about my number 5, so we'll go to number 4.
Nice.
Number 4.
What's your 4, sir?
Okay, so this one. I mean, first question: have you ever played the original Sushi Go?
Yeah, the card game.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I know this is going to go now.
Okay, so my next one is made by the same people that made the last game that I talked about on this list. It's also very, very, very similar to Sushi Go. And this one is... It's a card game about set collection, bluffing, and deduction, and it is called Go Nuts for Donuts.
It's not what I was thinking then.
Now,
go for it, sorry.
There's a few games out there that are very, very similar to this. I did consider putting Sushi Go in there, but to be honest, I prefer the theme a little bit more of donuts over sushi.
Yeah.
So it plays to me a bit more. My son also likes the theme of this. So in Go Nuts for Donuts, basically you have a line of donut cards out in front of you. There's always one more than the amount of players you have. So, for example, 6 players, there'll be 7 donuts out on the table. And then the players will also have the same amount of numbered cards, so 1 through to 7 in a 6-player game. And all the donuts have different abilities. Some of them will be points at the end of the game. Some of them will be stealing donuts from someone else. Some of them will be a set collection of donuts. So if you have X amount of this type of donuts, you get X amount of points. Some of them are even negative points, but really good, strong, powerful cards for the immediate time. So there are obviously cards to move them as well. And essentially what you're doing is bidding to try and get the donuts from the centre.
Okay.
Which sounds pretty simple. So we're all deciding in secret what ones we want to go for. I've decided I'm going to go for number 3. James has decided he's going to go for number 2. And you have also decided that you want to go for number 3. Okay. We're all ready. We reveal at the same time. James gets to take his donut because he was the only person who went for that donut. So he gets that donut and does whatever it says on the card.
Okay.
Because we've bidded for the same one, it's just discarded and we get nothing.
Okay, right.
And play continues like that until
so it's a blind bid then.
It's a blind bid.
Right.
Play continues like that until all the donut cards have gone, and then at the end of the game you tally up your points. Whoever has the most points wins. It's as simple as that. But it is a really, really fun game to play.
How many rounds is that? Sorry.
It just keeps going until the deck
is out.
Going.
Okay.
Yeah. If you can't refill the donut track, it's game over.
Right.
That's it. And yeah, it's that simple. It's great fun, especially when this is another game that if you play it amongst adults, you will find the game changes drastically because I'll see that you're starting a set collection of the high point
certain numbers, right?
So is it worth me blocking you from getting that one? Or do I want to block James from getting that one? Or do I just want to take on this one, for my own because it's going to benefit me? It's great amongst adults. It's even better amongst kids because you can turn a blind eye to the fact that the kids are going for the jelly donuts or, and the other thing is the art is awesome. It's pictures, it's artistic impressions of donuts, but they've got little faces on and some of them are really cool. You can get things like coffee, bacon donuts, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
It's so cool. Really, really nice. Again, it's game right. They do really good family games. If you've played Sushi Go, it's very, very similar. I think this one's slightly better, but that, again, I'm biased on the theme.
Okay.
So, yeah. Go Nuts.
Let's say, if I play Sushi Go, I've never heard of Go Nuts.
Yeah, it's worth it. Worth playing. I will have to break it out at some point. Because, again, amongst adults, it can be quite cutthroat.
Yeah, I like it.
There you go. That's me.
Good choice, sir. Good choice. James, what's your number 4, sir?
My number 4 is Meeple Land.
Oh, I wanted to play Meeple Land. I know of it, never played it. I know someone owns it, but he won't let me play it. Go on, sir. What
was so close to being on my list.
Yeah, it's I would, as a disclaimer, probably on my list, I would say maybe out of all of them, the most complex rule set to it. You might be more
for Meeple Land.
Yeah, compared to some of the others that have already been listed, it's more you sort of like your 8 to 10 year old child going in there. It's a little bit more advanced, but the general premise behind it is you're building a theme park.
Sure.
So straight away the theme, great. Mm-hmm. And you do that. You've got your little grid for you to place buildings on, and you're buying rides. So there's a money mechanic to it. And you're basically trying to place the ball in the correct places, and then buses are going to bring in visitors, and you have to have enough space to have all the visitors go in. So there's a little bit of worker placement, effectively trying to squeeze the visitors in. Mm-hmm. There's money management and managing your finances, but still simple enough to be enjoyed by the family.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, no, I would agree. Like I said, that was very close to going on my list as well. I think the only reason it didn't is because like you said, there's a bit more going on in that game. It's not a complex game. It's a very, very easy game. However, if you're playing with a young child,
it's a bit.
It might just be a bit much. I think James was right.
Yeah,
10,
you're looking
10 plus on this one.
Yeah.
So what's the art like for it, James? Is it nice to look at, or
yeah, it's a pretty game. It's very cartoony styled rides, like roller coasters, various wheels, dodgems.
I think the example I always give with the art styling on this is that imagine theme park. The PC
the video game.
The video game. It's very,
very similar art style.
Okay, yeah. That was a good game back in the day.
It was an awesome game. I really miss it.
Yeah, big time. Bring back that remake of it or something.
Indeed.
But yeah, anything else on that, sir?
Yes. 2 to 5 players.
Yep. We'll go with that then. And my number 4 would help. Sorry, you don't want to add anything to that. So 2 to 5 players.
Yeah, 2 to 5 players.
Boom. So you mentioned Sushi Go.
Oh yeah.
So I was thinking you were going to go with the other alternative, the other version of it, which is the dice version.
Oh, okay.
Sushi Roll is my number 4.
Oh.
I really like Sushi Roll. People prefer the Sushi Go version. Sushi Roll was essentially the board game that got my daughter into board games. Mm-hmm. I had that over lockdown. It's a simple roll of dice, pick up what you want, and it rotates around. You got a little menu system that helps them out with Wasabi helps you double your score and all that sort of stuff. Yep. And you get obviously little coins, tokens at the end, which you victory points. Are they money? I can't remember. I think they're victory points, aren't they? At the end of the day,
if I remember correctly, it's victory points.
Yeah,
it's been a while. But
so counting all that up at the end is like, again, help with mathematics again. And she was a lot younger. This was like 2 years ago as well, by the way.
Yeah.
And so that was just a big thing for me. It's colourful. It's quite nice to look at. It's not that much different from the card game, really, is it? It's essentially the same sort of thing, but just with dice in today, isn't it?
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think, again, when you're talking about children, they like dice.
Yeah,
rolling
and it comes with that little bag, and they like shaking it about and stuff. The dice are quite colourful as well.
Exactly, it's just more appealing to young children, especially if you've got something to shake and roll on the table, make some noise, rather than just a card.
Yeah, exactly.
So I can totally agree with that.
Yeah, and that's all I can really say. That was kind of a quick and easy one. Again, I think it's 2 to 5 players on that one. Nothing against the card version. The card version is really good, but just as to get a child into it, for me, I think the dice version is a bit better to get them into it. We enjoyed it through. My parents like playing it as well. Again, simple and easy. What more can I say about it? Entertaining for me today.
Very good choice.
We'll go to number 3 for that.
Number 3.
Sir, so number 3.
Okay, so my number 3, I can't remember if I've mentioned this game on this podcast before. I know we've done a show on it as well, but if I have, you might remember it when I start saying Scooby-Dooby-Doo, motherfucker. So this game is not an officially licensed Scooby-Doo game, but it just might as well be Scooby-Doo, the board game, and that is Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters. Okay, so in the game, players are working together, so it's another cooperative game where you're moving through a haunted mansion to collect all of the treasure and the jewels that have been left in there. However, those things are protected by the ghosts that are in there. Now, it's a very easy game. It's a roll-to-move game, which is, I'm not usually a fan of that, but it's good for kids. It's very easy to understand. When you're rolling to move, you roll a single die. It tells you how many. It's usually something like 1 to 6. However, with the numbers 1 to 5, you're also spawning another ghost. So with 5 out of 6 dice sides, you're going to be adding more and more ghosts.
Yeah.
Get too many ghosts into a room, and it becomes a nasty haunt. If there's more than if you've got 3 ghosts in a room and you try and add another, that's it. It turns to a haunt, and it takes 2 people to try and attack that haunt. So there is an element of management to it as well, because if you let those ghosts get too many, you're going to start spawning the nasty haunts. 6 haunts, game over.
Right.
So you need to manage that while also working together to try and get the the jewels out of the thing. So it's a fairly small board. I think there's 12 rooms, if memory serves correctly. You've got corridors as well to move between them. You can take shortcuts by going through rooms and cutting through doors. In the more advanced version, and I say advanced, it's not advanced in any way, shape or form. My son plays the advanced version.
Okay.
There is also a mechanic where those doors lock as well.
Right.
So sometimes
you can't take the shortcuts or anything.
Exactly, yeah. So yeah, basically, when you roll a ghost, you flip over a card, it tells you where that ghost needs to go. It's really that simple. It's roll dice, go to get the gems from the various rooms.
Try not to spawn too many ghosts.
Try not to spawn too many ghosts. Get the gem back out. If you can get all of the gems out, I think there's 8. If you get all of them out, you win. Obviously, you need to do that before the house becomes too haunted.
Right.
You can attack the ghost. If you end in a room with a ghost in it, you have to fight it.
Right.
Which is literally, roll a dice. Is it a ghost? Yes, cool, right, I've killed one ghost.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
So
it's
not like
really
you're getting your proton pack out or anything and
you don't
ghosts
get your
trapped
proton
in it.
pack out. I mean, it is that. It's basically Scooby-Doo meets Ghostbusters.
So why are you comparing it to Scooby-Doo? Is it an actually Scooby-Doo licensed looking game?
They have done an official Scooby-Doo licensed version of this game.
Right, okay.
However, this game that I'm talking about is the more easy one to find.
Right.
It's not Scooby-Doo, but it's the whole thing of your kids going into a haunted mansion and, you know...
The big dog.
There isn't a dog. However, I may have 3D printed a dog to play with, but that's neither here nor there. You're going into a haunted house and your kids. It's all right. It's not Scooby-Doo, but it might as well be.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's Scooby-Doo meets Ghostbusters as kids, going in, stealing someone's treasure that's left them in a haunted house, and yeah, love it.
Nice.
I love it. My son loves it. It's a great game. It's really, really easy to learn.
Yeah.
Because it is... What do you need to learn? You need to learn how to count to 6, because that's what you're rolling on the dice.
Yep.
And when you're fighting ghosts, is there a picture of a ghost? Yes. Okay, I've hit it. That's it. That's all you need to know. You can't...
Go away, ghost!
Exactly. You can't get more simple on this. It does work together with teamwork, because, as I said, it's a cooperative game. You need to figure out who's going where. If there's more than one ghost in the room, you need 2 of you in the room to kill both of them, because you can only ever roll 1 dice per player, so it's like you're only ever going to kill one of them, or I say kill, remove one of them. And like I said, if you get those nasty big red haunts come out, they take 2 people to even attack it.
Right, okay.
So,
it's like a boss, is it? Or
it's I suppose it's just a more nasty version.
Okay.
You know, the small ones they've got 1 life. These ones they've still only got 1 life, but it takes 2 of you jabbing it in the face, basically.
Okay, fair enough.
So yeah, it requires that teamwork. But yeah, it's a great little game. It's not. We have played it amongst adults, and it is good fun, but it's very, very basic amongst adults. You're talking half hour to play this game amongst adults, because it's like, we can do this, and this. You know, you can add in the slightly more advanced rules of you've got to get the gems out.
Over co-op the co-op game.
Exactly. You've got to get them out in numerical order.
Sure.
You know, which makes it a bit more challenging, because you've got to go and reveal all of the numbers. You can only carry 1 at a time.
Okay.
So it's not like you can literally just go in all the rooms
and go around and start collecting them all.
Out.
At least you got a bit of longevity in there.
Exactly, yeah. Like I said, very easy game. Fun for the kids. And yeah.
And fun for you as well.
Fun for me as well, yeah.
Nice. Good choice.
Ghost Fighting Treasure Hunters.
Not Scooby-Doo Ghost Fighting Treasure.
Not Scooby.
James, number 3, sir.
Number 3 for me is Thunderbirds.
Oh, which version?
Ooh.
There's more than one version.
Yeah, I've got a really old Thunderbirds board game from like 90s.
It's not that one.
Okay, fair enough.
It's the it'll be the Modifius version that they did. I think it's literally called Thunderbirds, the board game, which I think they both were, in fact. But this is the cooperative one by Matt Lee.
It's the updated one, is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's very different.
Yeah, explain, go for it.
Yeah, so it is a fully cooperative game. It's in there because I am a huge... I was a huge Thunderbirds
same man. I love Thunderbirds.
I used to love that show. And yeah, it's basically you are controlling international rescue.
Yep.
And it is your job to... you have a board. It's got a world map. It's also got a track for space for Thunderbird 3.
Yep.
It comes with the miniatures.
I was going to say, does it have the miniatures?
Oh, yeah. It comes with the full set of miniatures. for the main Thunderbirds.
Sure.
And then the rescue machines are like card punchboard tokens.
Okay.
But yeah, there is that aspect of it. You have to go around the world map. You have a disaster track, which is cards.
Right.
And they're based on, again, they're all based on the television show.
Okay.
Some of them will require certain rescue machines.
Sure.
So Thunderbird 2 will have to transport them. There's a
Yep.
real big sort of planning cooperative mode to it. And there is also the hood track.
I was going to say,
you
is the
ha-
hood into this?
You have a villain as well, and you can't let his track advance all the way to the end, otherwise you lose.
Sure.
And yeah, it's a great, fun, a fully cooperative game.
Okay. Nice.
So it's obviously it's a Matt Leacock game, so it's very, very similar to the likes of Pandemic. It's got a very similar feel. It's not a Pandemic game.
No.
You know, like you get some games which is like, oh, this is on the Pandemic system. It's not that, but it is a very, very similar system. It's great fun. It's one of the first, not the first, but one of the first few modern board games that I played when I first got back into gaming. And it's really, really good. The expansions make it even better.
Expansions?
There are 3 expansions.
Wow.
For
Okay.
it. There's a Hood expansion, which allows you to play as the Hood.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Really cool. I like that one. Other ones actually give you miniatures for all of the rescue vehicles as well.
Oh, so instead of using the cardboards, the punch
Exactly.
cards,
So you get little miniatures for those as well. There is a whole... I think one of them gives you a whole new stack of rescue missions.
Yep.
That essentially replace the old ones with some of the movie stuff in there as well, which is pretty cool.
That's pretty cool.
It's a great game.
So it's got more replayability then to it if you just add in stuff like that to it.
Yeah,
at the end of the day.
but like even like I said, the disaster cards, they're all based on the television show, and they've used still artwork from the television show.
Oh, no way. That's pretty cool.
It's really cool.
Nice.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, this was released to coincide with one of the big anniversaries.
Right, okay.
Thunderbirds.
So it's not to do with the Peter Jackson revamp or anything.
It's not, no.
It's the actual proper Thunderbirds.
Proper
Yeah,
puppet-
yeah,
Right.
the
That's what I was getting confused at when you mentioned Thunderbirds. I was like,
proper puppet Thunderbirds.
yep.
With, like you said, stills from all of the original cartoons, original TV show,
yep.
and the movie. And yeah, it's great fun. Like I said, I love the little miniatures that you get as well. I've painted all
We
mine
got
up.
is Lady Penelope in it as well.
Yep.
She is.
Nice.
She's in the base game. And the later expansions add extra characters as well, which, you know, you can get Parker.
Yep, nice.
You get...
Milady.
Milady. You get Tintin, extra vehicles.
Yep.
So, you know, that's the other thing. You don't have to stay in your own vehicle. You can swap between vehicles. And I love playing with the expansions especially because I always love to play as Parker. And just having Parker jumping from Thunderbird to Thunderbird, going around and solving all these...
Yep.
Like, Parker has, like... done a mid-air rescue. When did I ever see that? Never, but I've done it.
You've done it. It is possible.
Oh, get them, my lady.
Nice.
Don't do that, Parker, you stupid fuck.
So do you actually own that, or does Jason own that?
No, this is most of these are Jason's collection. I don't.
You need to pop that out one time and give that a go as well.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's a great game. We recently played it. I'm not surprised that you remembered it and put it in. We played it probably 3-4 weeks ago. So
Nice. And to remember people that the franchise is still around as well. It's a good thing. It's a good way to
Well, this
bring
was
them
the
into
thing. We broke it out of the comic shop, and before we'd even started playing, I was like, oh my god, what's this? It's Thunderbirds. I love Thunderbirds.
There you go.
Do you want to play?
Yep. Exactly. Come. Sit.
Yeah,
I'm the hood.
Now I can't remember this for the player count. Does it actually have a solo mode
With expansions.
with expansions? So all right, so base game I think it's 2 to 5.
Okay.
5 players,
Sure.
Which for the 5 main Tracy brothers.
Okay. Yeah.
I would probably say as a family game, you're looking at 10 plus on this one.
Yeah.
Because there's lots of small text on the
But is it something kids can get into, or
I reckon you probably could, as long as you had an adult there reading what the cards say.
sure?
Kids would be able to understand
Reading it for
because,
them, yeah.
again, movement is nice and simple. Is what vehicle are you in? There's a big thing on the side of the board that says the vehicle can move this.
Right.
Okay, so I want to go 1, 2, 3, and working as a team, because again, when cooperative games in family are great because it doesn't matter if the kids want to do something, that they don't really understand what they need to do, you're there to help them. So yeah, I reckon you could probably play this with younger, providing the adult was there to read stuff for them.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, really good game.
Good choice, sir. Anything else on that, sir?
No, that's it.
That's it. So, okay, my number 3 is going to be a game about wrestling bugs. And it's Kabuto Sumo. Yeah. I love this game.
I'm just going to say, I've been sitting here looking at it on the shelf going, shit, I forgot that game.
This is like the small version of Croconaut, if you will, isn't it? Sort of thing.
It is.
But no, I love this game. It's just the simple little, just put a disc on here, try and move it. It's like one of those arcade machines where you put a coin in and it pushes the coin to try and get all the rest of it. It's kind of like that in a way, and that's how the mechanic builds to it. But it's simply just trying to get discs, push your opponent out. That's all it is. Yeah. You can have other different bugs in it, which have stick beetles or dung beetles, and they have special abilities. One of them's even got a wrestling belt as a special ability. Yeah. I friggin' love it. I've got the expansion now as well. I really need to do the expansion. But again, kids love it. Adults love it. And it's just one of those ones where, I should have pushed it this way or I should have pushed it that way. And, shit, it's going to tip over. Only one more move, I can push my guy back in. Yeah. It's just so much to it. And all it is just simply pushing a disc onto the board. And that's exactly what Croconaut was like, isn't it?
Exactly.
Addictive, fun, and just so stupid. It's brilliant at the end of the day.
I really wish I'd remembered that before coming over here today, because that game is so much fun. It's a game that I've been meaning to get James to play it.
Yeah.
Paul has this game. I know you've got this game, but we've never managed to get a table with James.
You'll love it, dude. Honestly.
I think James will love this game. It's really good fun. Very good fun.
2 to 4, isn't it?
I'm pretty sure it's 4.
Yeah, 2 to 4.
I'm pretty sure it's 4 characters.
Yeah, but I think if you're 4 players, you're teamed. You don't have individuals.
Yeah, I can't remember. I think I've only played it once. And there was
something along that lines. Yeah, if you've got 3, you can do 1, but if you're 4, I think it's done in teams. But yeah, hell of a lot of fun. Give it a try if you can, guys. Kabuto Sumo, my number 3. Yeah, nice. We'll go to number 2s.
Number 2.
So number 2, sir.
Okay, so this is the one for me that is so close to being number 1. So close, but unfortunately, I personally just prefer number 1 just that little bit more. However, this game is fantastic. It's a game that was really, really well published on UK media in, I think it was either 2020 or 2021 when it was on Kickstarter.
James is smiling.
And James is going to hate me for this because I know that this is on his list.
It is.
Is it?
The game is Cora Quest.
What number is it on yours? Number 1. Oh, no! So both going it together then, because you've clashed. Go for it.
Indeed, yeah. Sorry, James, but Cora Quest was always going to be on my list because my son fucking loves this game. This is the game that I was referring to earlier when I'm talking about he asks to play it.
To play this,
Literally every time he's with me, he wants to play this game.
You've mentioned this a few times to us, so I'm intrigued now.
I believe I have, yes. I've been playing it much more recently. Mm-hmm. We actually recorded an episode on this earlier today.
Nice. Literally, before we came here, we did our episode on Cora Quest.
So I refused to give the information away that it was indeed on my list.
So look out for that episode, guys, when it pops up.
Indeed, that should be out by the time this one's out. So, nice. Anyway, in this one, it is basically a really family-friendly, intro-level dungeon crawling game.
Oh, okay.
So you are working together as a team, searching through a dungeon, following a storied campaign, but they're individual stories and campaigns. It's designed by a father and a daughter during the UK lockdowns.
Sure.
And all of the artwork on it, it's all designed by kids from around the world, so it's really cutesy artwork that they've all sent in, and then it's been sort of digitized and printed and stuff like that. It's got really simple mechanics. Your character card has everything on it. It tells you how much your movement is needed. It's standees, so it's not miniatures. So there's no worry that things are going to get broken, stuff like that. We discussed earlier how much comes in the box as well. It's a tiny, it's quite a small box, about Kabuto Sumo size.
Okay.
And there's just so much.
So much crammed inside.
It's crammed in there, and it's £30 RRP. It's
really
horrendously cheap. And for what you get, there's just stories upon stories upon stories. I'm not going to give anything away because they are obviously storied missions. But,
Okay.
There's things like, you've got to go and find Kevin the gnome in the dungeon. So, the only sort of complex thing, if you like, is when you're in the dungeon, if you don't explore a new tile, you start sort of a countdown tracker, which will have a shitload of spiders or something turn up. But it's not a nasty game, It's things like orcs, goblins, that kind of stuff. But because it's kids' artwork, it's not scary.
It's not scary, yeah.
And the best thing about this game, it's good for ages 6 and up.
Okay.
It's a really young person's game. This is not a gamer's game. D&D players, no, don't even go there.
No.
Hardcore gamers, don't bother. It's just not that. This is a family game through and through, designed
But it's
solely for it.
It's great
Yeah.
because the scenarios are presented to you in like a booklet form. So when you when you flip over the requisite story tile, it will have a number, like a letter and a number, and you read from that section.
Oh, from
and
that, right. Like a choose your own adventure thing you used to do, yeah.
Effectively like that. And I love this game because we talk about gateway games so often, but there isn't really, until this came along, there isn't really a gateway into roleplay, Dungeons and Dragons. So if you're a relatively young person and you're suddenly confronted, you think, D&D might be for me, and you sit down with that rule book and just go, I have no idea what this is. This is the gateway.
This is a good one to start off with.
To roleplay.
Yeah.
And as I found out earlier from what Jason told me, the creators they also have an online tool, so you can create your own characters, you can create your own scenarios.
Oh wow, okay.
And then print the stuff to go with it. It's
the idea being is like say for example, one of your children decided that they wanted to be a character. They can draw a picture of themselves. You scan it into the computer or take a picture of it or whatever. Go online. They have a template for a character card, and you can put your picture on it and then print it.
Oh wow, okay. So then you can use it there and there straight away.
You can use it right then and there.
Oh, that's genius idea.
And again, you can print stuff for the standees, so you can actually have your own standee. You can create your own villains. They've put in that you can create your own scenarios, and just recently, and I mean recently, in the last week or so, they've now started releasing free scenarios. So they're now supporting it free of charge.
That's to keep it going, though, in a way as well, isn't it? Yeah.
It's just sort of like, this is a £30 game.
It sounds like it's a lot more, to be honest.
There's so much in it for that, and it's not like the quality's bad. The quality is fantastic. The one gripe I had about it was it didn't have a box insert. It's all in baggies, but, so many people prefer that anyway. I don't. But that's just me.
Yeah, but hey, it's still a good run for your money at the end of the day,
exactly.
isn't it?
And I've gotten to a point now, it's like, if you play family games at home and this isn't in your collection, you're doing it wrong.
Doing it wrong.
This needs to be in your collection.
And it sounds like James just explained, that it could be like a possible future for games with the whole scanning your design and put it in, printing out, and people are doing that with 3D printers obviously now, but that's a genius idea, in my opinion. How no one's come up with that beforehand is unreal.
I think it deserves so much props for that, considering this is not a large game studio that's released. This is a father-daughter team, and you don't get that level of support really in any other kind of board game. This is from a small indie, effectively.
Yeah, and I was so happy when it was announced that Bright Eye Games has taken it on to publish it, so it's now going to be a retail.
Good.
It's a retail copy now, so
it sounds like it deserves it.
It does.
At the end of the day.
100% it does, and it's a really, really great game. Couldn't say enough good things about it. I'm not going to give anything away for our episode, but we both rated this quite high.
Good.
So yeah, definitely worth it. Core Quest, fantastic game.
And I'm surprised that's not number. You've kind of beefed it up. I'm surprised what your number one might be now, to be honest.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because obviously you've stolen the thunder. That was my number one.
So, because it's your number one, do you want to add anything else to that at all? Or?
Jason's covered most of it, and we've got the bit in there about all the extra support they provide.
So, if expansions come out, will you support that? Grab that as well? Whatnot?
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I will. Yes. And I know there's at least 4 or 5 people in our game group that own this game, because we played this while it was on Kickstarter. We played it on Tabletop Simulator. We all backed it. And even since it's turned up, we've played this at the adult gaming clubs as well.
So is this actually out now, or
this is out now?
It's
yes.
on actual retail now.
If memory serves correctly, like I said, this is full retail price is £30. I think companies like Zatu and other online retailers, you're looking at about 23.
Wow!
So it is a dirt cheap game,
Worth every penny.
Yeah,
probably
by the sounds of it,
more.
yeah.
I'd say worth more.
Nice.
So yeah, go out and get it.
That sounds like a very, very good choice. I'm going to have to give that a go myself as well. Another one to add to the list. God damn it, you guys, stop making me spend money. So that was your 2?
That was my number 2.
Your number 2.
So
your number 2, James.
My number 2 is Downforce.
Oh,
okay.
Yes.
Never heard of it. Go for it.
Downforce, it is a racing game.
Okay.
So think, I don't know, Formula One, Daytona 500, that kind of thing. That's very much what the miniatures are. So you get aboard with a racetrack, and it's been a while since I've played it, so I'm going to rely on Jason to correct me if I make any mistakes here. So you start the game by you bid for your cars.
Correct.
Yeah. You have
bid. Sorry.
Yeah, you have certain abilities. So you are effectively a race team, and you are bidding for your driver.
Right.
And they all have different abilities to play during the game, and that does determine off your end score, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, basically, with what you bid for the car is the equivalent in millions is what you've paid for the car or that driver. So, say for example, you've bid 3 and you've outbid everyone else. You've bought that car for 3 million. At the end of the game, that's subtracted from your race winnings, that kind of stuff.
Race winnings, and then you bet on who's going to win the race.
Right.
And you don't have to. You could back one of the other drivers if you really wanted to.
Okay.
And the premise is obviously the board is a racetrack, and there are expansions that give you different racetracks. Some of them are a little bit more
cartoony
and gamey. He says, and the highlights have things like jumps, and things like that. And then others are very sort of based on what you would expect to actually find in a racetrack.
Okay.
And your car moves by playing cards. You have a hand of cards.
Yep.
And it will have on your turn, but most of them will move all the cars.
Okay.
Different amounts of space.
And everyone's got the same deck of cards, is it? Or
so it's one deck of cards that at the start of the game is shuffled and then dealt out.
Right, so no one's got the same.
No one's got the same.
Right, okay.
But as James was saying, on each card you've got a colour with a number on it.
And you get when you bid for your car, you also get that car's turbo.
Yeah, it's their booster
which
one,
which is the most powerful one. It's only got that colour on it, and I think it moves you like 8 spaces.
Yeah. Nice.
So you get that with the car, and then, as Jason said, the deck's dealt out to everyone else. And so you might have a hand of cards, and one of them might say blue car moves 2, orange car moves 5, etc., etc., etc. And it might have all the cars on it. Other cards might only move the black, the green, and the blue car. So you're sort of looking at it going, right, well, I bet on this car to win. So obviously I need to play my cards in the right order to get that car up the track. But I don't know what everyone else has got. There's a bit of a random element to it. Yeah. I think it's not just betting on who wins, is it? It's who comes first. Is it first, second, and third?
So you at the end of the race, you get money for where you place. The only place that you don't get money for is 6th. And you also get payouts for your betting.
Yeah.
And at the end of the game, you add your betting winnings and your race winnings and then subtract what you paid for your car, and that is your total for the game.
That's it. You bet 3 times, don't you? There's marks on the board as the car, basically, as they go through the stages, you place a bet based on how the race is going.
Okay. Yeah. So is the track always the same, or can you modify that at all or anything?
The track is set. You have a dual-sided board, so the base game has two tracks on it. If memory serves correctly, one of them is like Monaco, a Monaco rip-off, and then there's like a city circuit on one of them.
Okay.
But yeah, it's set as it is, and the track's divided into sections, and each square is a movement.
Sure.
And as James said, like say for example, you had a car with 3 different colours on it. You work from the top to the bottom. So it's like, right, okay, I need to move black 6. Okay, I've done that. I need to move blue 3 and red 1. the beauty of it is there are certain parts of the track where it will go down to a single track.
Or it will go
so-
from 3 wide to 2 wide. And the cars, they don't collide, so you can block people in.
Right, okay.
Yeah. And so, yeah, amongst adults, very, very good game. Incredibly, not cutthroat, because it's a very quick game as well. It's about 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It's really not a long game. And you sort of think, well, you only start the game with about 7 or 8 cards.
Okay.
But because everyone is playing cards that's moving the other cars, you don't need... You never use your whole hand.
Right, okay.
So, yeah, it's a very, very...
Yeah.
It sounds weird to say it's a difficult game to teach, because it's really not. It's getting people used to the fact that, right, you need to bid for your cars. You don't want to bid too much, because obviously if you don't earn that much at the end, it is possible to end up with minus.
Oh, really?
You know, I do
Really?
I do it quite a lot.
Yeah.
You know, if you go straight in as, I want the red car, so I'm bidding 6 million, which will be the highest. So, well, if you only make 6 million, you're going to break even.
But yeah, exactly, yeah.
You know, and like James said, what I find with this game is really interesting is it's a racing game where you don't necessarily win if you win the race. Because you could come last in the race and get nothing, but bid correctly...
You can still win.
Well, it's
bet
because
correctly, you could technically still win.
If I remember correctly, you get your hand of cards, then you place your bet.
Correct.
Sure,
So
yeah.
you have an idea of which car you can move the most.
Yeah.
You look at your hand and go, right, I can move the black car the most based on the cards that I have. But what can everyone else do with that?
Sure.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, sometimes it's like, okay, well, I'm not betting on this car, but I've got really high cards. So if I can maneuver these cars so that they block it, I can then play all of these high number cars. I go, oh, what a shame it can't move. It's blocked in, but I've used that card now. You know, so there is a lot of strategic play into it if you're playing amongst adults, but with kids, as long as they know numbers 1 to 6 and colours,
Then it's not the issue.
that's the one issue I would say with this game is there's
there's no
there's nothing really in it for colour blindness.
Okay.
So that is
heavily reliant on colour.
It is. So that is a bit of a negative for me, but as long as they know 1 to 6 and can tell the colours apart, or they've got people that can do that for them,
Yeah.
it's perfect for kids. My little one has been playing this since he was 4.
And what's the max plays for this?
6.
And the artwork's pretty good for it as well?
Yeah. It's pretty good. It's like,
For its theme?
slightly cartoony race
Yeah.
cars.
Yeah.
Race cars is a great theme for kids.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Artistic impression is probably
Yeah.
the best way to put the artwork on this. But it's clear what it is. It's quite attractive.
It sounds like a lot of fun. It reminds me of, it sounds like a lot of, like Camel Up. Because it gives you
Yeah.
bid on that as well before you start the race and stuff like that.
Yeah,
That's what,
I'd
I
say
was getting that
there
sort of
is,
vibe
yeah.
to it. It's obviously not, but, you know.
I would actually say it shares a lot of comparison with Camel Up, actually. So, yeah, so it's a good shout.
Yeah.
If you play Camel Up, you'll be able to know Downforce. Downforce is a really easy game to play. And again,
One I need to play.
when it's in stock, again, this is a cheap game, 30 quid.
Yeah.
Nice.
Lots of replayability to it. Love it.
Nice. Anything else on that, sir?
Oh, that covers most of it.
Nice. My number 2 is a game I thought I would never play because I'm not a fan of the franchise whatsoever. But when I played it, I was kind of intrigued to think, oh, my family might actually like that. And it's a deck building game for family, and it's Hogwarts Battle Harry Potter.
Yeah.
It's not in your list, is it?
It's not in my list. I can say I've not played the Hogwarts one.
Okay.
I have played through the Toy Story one, which is a retheme.
Oh, nice.
of
Okay.
that. So it's I know the games.
Yeah.
very
So
well.
yeah, it's deck building for kids in a way.
Yeah.
Pretty much. It's simple and easy. Follow the symbols and make sure you put things on certain locations and stuff. Kill the bad guy with certain types of cards. Make sure you go use your money shopping. And that's pretty much it, really. But again, it's Harry Potter, and the reason I kind of like it, I know the films, I've seen the films, and can relate to it. And I just literally sat there and thought, it's a game I think I could enjoy with my kids, get my kids into deck building. And that's literally why it's on this list. I still enjoy playing it, even though I'm not a Harry Potter fan whatsoever.
yeah.
But, there's a couple I've got one there, which I found for £7.50 in Waterstones, down from £30 to £7.50. He's like, yep, I'll have that. But my daughter loves it. She loves Harry Potter. There's parts where even on the shopping thing, she's looking out for certain characters or certain things to defeat enemies. I can't really say an awful lot else about it, really. It literally is deck building for kids.
Yeah.
Like I said, if there's a Toy Story version...
There is indeed a Toy Story version. I haven't got around to playing the Toy Story version with my son as of yet.
Yeah.
But he is also a huge Harry Potter fan, so I am tempted to get that one, as that's the one I haven't played.
Sure.
And this one has an expansion. So
Yeah.
Toy Story 1 doesn't. But yeah, pick your poison. Do your children, do your family prefer Toy Story or do they prefer Harry Potter? They are basically the same game.
Yep.
Obviously a different theme. You know, I like the Toy Story one because very much like the Harry Potter one, each box, because that's the other thing, it's like a campaign game.
That's right,
isn't it?
yes. Yeah.
So you're always adding to the game, your replayability there. But like the Toy Story one, for example, box 1 is film 1.
Yeah.
So you're dealing
Same with Harry Potter,
You're
yeah.
dealing with Sid, you know, and stuff like that.
Not
and then,
Sid!
Not Sid! But then later on, you start unlocking extra characters from the later films. I'm
Sure.
not going to say which ones because it's, you know, campaign games and stuff like that. But I imagine Harry Potter's exactly the same.
Yeah.
You're getting more characters and stuff as time goes on.
Yeah, literally, like you said, 7 boxes, each one's the film. The expansion is literally just extra characters, so it's not like it's bringing any more films into it, because let's face it, it can't. But yeah, that's the reason why I like it, because like you said, I think by the time you get to game 4, you dice is involved in it.
Yes.
So I don't know if the Toy Story one does that at all, or...
I don't remember dice, but there is definitely more mechanics that come into it.
Exactly, like take this card out, put these guys in, add this enemy.
Without giving too much away about the Toy Story one, I've said that it follows the films. Each box is generally from the films. They also have one in there from the Halloween special. That
the
did.
Halloween Terror one, that's good, that one.
That one is fucking hard.
Is it really?
So hard. I had to try that one so many times to actually complete it.
No way.
So, yeah. The first one is really easy. That's great for families. If you're going to be doing it again, there's...
I might have to pick up this Toy Story one.
7 boxes, I think, in the Toy Story one. That's 7 game nights.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's if you complete them all on the first try.
Yeah.
If you don't complete them the first try, well, that's another game night.
Absolutely.
You know,
and exactly how you said, how like my daughter would be like, oh, let's say now I want to go play a different game, whatnot. Once one game box is done, let's move on to the next one.
Yeah.
I want to do box 3 now. Let's go do that. And again, I didn't think, I took a gamble with it. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
And with that gamble came a little girl that's interested in a certain theme and wants to keep playing it at the end of the day. So I think win-win for all of it. And I'm going to have to try that Toy Story one, because I know my other daughter would probably love that as well.
Yeah,
So
I could probably lend that to you. I mean, I haven't played it for a long time. It's been skirting the pile for sale for a little while.
Oh, okay.
Because obviously
I might have to buy that.
I've completed it, and it's sort of like, do I, don't I? You know, I'd rather it go to another loving home where kids can...
We need to talk after the episode.
We might have to. But yeah, it's definitely worth it. I would love to try the Harry Potter one at some point as well.
Yeah.
I like Harry Potter, but...
I mean, I don't mind it. I'm not the biggest... I'm a Tolkien guy at the end of the day, so...
Well, that's fair enough.
That's the issue, isn't it? You're either Harry or Tolkien, so...
You're a wizard, Harry.
Yeah. So yeah, but I can imagine doing the Toy Story one and just doing complete quotes all the way through it.
Yeah. How quickly can you be sat around the table? Quick, Andy's coming, everyone falls off
And
the
everyone
table.
just falls over. So yeah, that's my number 2. I can't say any more on it. Took a gamble with deck building for kids, and it worked out. So number 1s.
It's number 1.
So Jason, what is the one that defeated Core? Is it Core Quest?
Core Quest.
Core
yes.
Quest.
Okay, so this one, I'm pretty sure you won't know what this game is. However, James was introduced to it very, very recently.
Okay.
Which means he's probably just figured out which game this is. Amongst adults, it's possibly one of the most cutthroat games I think I've ever played in my life. Amongst family, it's a cute little game with what looks like hedgehogs.
Yep.
And I am talking about Echidna Shuffle.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Never heard of it.
No.
Please tell me.
So this is another game that when it's out on the table, it is a draw to the table because you have multiple little... I say little, they're actually quite big
Yeah.
models, plastic models of echidnas. hedgehogs, basically. Echidnas are actually different animals, but that's neither here nor there. They look like hedgehogs.
Knuckles is an echidna.
Knuckles
there we
is
go.
an echidna. So
I never knew that.
I'll be honest, I didn't until I saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2 the other day.
Oh, fair enough.
And I love Knuckles. But anyway, the game is all about moving echidnas around the board, following the directions of the arrows that are on the board.
Okay.
And you are collecting bugs from your coloured spawning point and then taking them to one of 3 of your coloured sort of tree stumps. The trick with this game, though, is it's all roll to move. So on turn 1, I roll my dice and it's like, right, okay, I've got 6 movement. I can move any of the echidnas. So I've moved this echidna 1. I've moved this one 1. I've moved this one 1.
So you can't move one 6 times.
You could
You
could
could if
move
you
one.
wanted to.
Right.
You've got a board, and the board's got points on it that they can sit on and arrows. So some of them will go in circles.
Okay.
And they all go around the board. So only one echidna can be on these points any point at one time. So if there's 2 like that, they're blocking.
Right.
And if you need to get over here and the arrow goes like that, it's like, right, that's got to go 1. So it can get out of the way. And the point is you
right,
need to get
okay.
the 1 with the bug to the tree stump.
So yeah, if you can get yourself a clear path, you could use all 6 on one echidna if you wanted to. But this is where, amongst adults, it becomes incredibly cutthroat. Because I could have just rolled, okay, I've got a 6 movement. James has already got an echidna with one of his bugs right in front of me, and I can see he only needs 2 spaces to get to his next tree stump. However, there's a nice little diversion that I can send him on.
Which will take me round the whole
So you're
board.
against one another this one.
You are against each
Right.
other on this one. So I'm going to use one of my 6 movement to just divert James off there, so he now has to go around the entire board.
Got ya.
And with the rest of my 5, I only need 4 to get to my place. However, that's blocked, so I need to move some other echidnas out the way, at which point I can't make it. So I then have to go on to the next turn. And stuff like that. So there's a lot of sort of strategic play in that. However, the family aspect of it, if you can take away that strategic, I'm going to be a dick as much as I can be, it's great for the kids. And if the kids don't understand it fully, because you're also moving their echidnas, you could technically help them a bit.
Okay.
By moving things and directing them in the same way. If you can see that, oh, I'm going to go around this way, well, actually, no, you want to go that way, so I'm going to move you there because now you're on the right path. Mm-hmm. You know, and I love this game because I happily play this with adults.
As well as
kids. This is one that my little one loves it, but it's also one that gets requested at game clubs quite a lot.
Okay.
Because while it is cutesy, it's really, really family kiddified game. I've had this. Some games have had to come to a draw because there's just so much strategic play going. And I'm going to do this, and then just time flies by. There's still no winner because everyone is clued into the game. It's like, no, I'm going to keep screwing you. Well, I'm going to screw you. I'm going to screw you. I'm going to screw you. And you just sort of get to a bit of a stalemate. That's a bit of a downside. There is mechanics in the game to stop that.
Okay.
But
is that advanced rules then, or
that's advanced rules?
There's also the other side of the board.
Okay.
The board is 2-sided. The standard side is pretty simple. You know, it's generally clockwise are the arrows, and then the bits through the middle go anti-clockwise. The reverse side is like a snowy board, and almost every single space you can move echidnas wherever you like. Backwards, forwards, left, right, up, down.
So it changes the game a bit.
It changes the game a lot, and that is hard because it's like, oh, I can see you need to go there. And rather than send you to the right by one space, I'm going to make you go back the other way.
Is it quite spaced out? Because I'm picturing this as quite enclosed sort of area that you can move these echidnas.
They're not. It's not. It's a standard board game.
Okay.
Standard board game size board.
Right.
You know, if you imagine it's a standard 30 by 30 box, and it folds twice, so it's a 4-piece board. Mm-hmm. So not as big as Scythe or anything like that. It would fit on a standard game, standard kitchen table easily. Just looking at the table we have here, it easily fit on this. And the echidnas are probably about 15 centimetres long,
okay.
I would say. And yeah, you literally have little plastic bugs that you put in the top of them when you've collected them, and you move them around the table. And like I said, it is as simple as first person to get 3 to their tree stumps wins.
That's it.
And that's it. It's incredibly simple. But my explanation is terrible because I'm very passionate.
It's weird how you pushed Core Quest so much.
Yeah.
And that was number 2. And I was like, I'm not saying this is a bad pick. I mean, I've never played the game again today, but you explained that this in such less than the other one.
It's actually a really hard game to try and explain.
Yeah.
Because I'm so used to playing this with adults.
Sure.
More than the kids, but my little one loves it.
Yeah.
You know. But it's so simple because again, it's roll to move. But rather than just moving one piece, you're moving multiple. Or you can move whatever you like. Mm. You could spend the entire game going, well, I'm never going to win, so I'm just going to dick everyone over. Mm. You know, and if the kids just want to...
Like you said, that was the downside to it.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, it's great fun. Theoretically, I would say Core Quest is probably better for the family, if I'm being honest. Mm. But this game has more replayability in the sense of adults will want to play this as well. Yeah. And it has a lot of table presence. It's a fairly cheap game. It's not as cheap as Core Quest, but it looks great. It's easy to learn, easy to teach, hard to explain.
Just say it's got knuckles in it, and people are like, yeah, let's play.
I'm just going to say it. There's a reason we haven't done an episode on this yet.
Fair enough.
I still haven't figured out how to actually explain this game properly. Yet, if I'm teaching you, I can show you.
Sure.
You know, and it will take me a minute.
I think that's the issue with some of these episodes we do. Is like, I've got this game that I want to explain to you, and I explain to you, and I feel like, shit, I've just done a really crap job of this. I'm not selling this game at all well. Yeah. I can see where you're coming from. It's like...
Yeah, that's the thing, is that when you're not... You can't give the game the time of day to really go into depth about what you've got to do, what you're not going to do. Sometimes it just sounds like, well, that sounds rubbish. Mm. Well, it's like, no, it's not that. It's just I don't have the time to really sit here and go, if you do this, this, you know, I could give this 20 minutes and you would know how to play the game.
Sure.
I'm not going to sit here for 20 minutes talking about a game that no one's played. You know, whereas if we're doing a particular game highlight episodes, like you're there for that reason. We're highlighting everything about that game.
Yeah.
So I can go into a bit more depth with it and explain it. But I mean, James has played it now. It is hard to explain.
It is very hard to explain, but very simple once it's in front of you.
Yeah, exactly. The simple concept is pick up bugs from a spawning point
and move them
and
to
just
a tree
move them
stump.
and move them to your coloured tree stump. That's
it.
First person to 3 wins. I can't.
Number one.
Number one. Core Quest and The Kid in the Shuffle, duel number 1. There you go. I'll make it easy on myself.
I'm going to duel it now,
I'm going to duel it now. There's no number 2.
Duel number 1. First time in M.T.V.B. history, guys. Anything else on that?
Not for now.
No?
No, I don't think we'll do it. I'm not going to try and explain it anymore.
If anyone's interested, wait for the Meeple Minded episode.
Yeah, probably about another 3 years.
James, what was yours?
My number 1 was Core Quest.
Oh, it's Core Quest that's already done. Right, so straight to my number 1. Apologies for this now. You're going to hate me straight away. My number 1 family game of all time, Buckaroo. No, I'm only joking. It's not Buckaroo.
I was actually going to say that's not a bad choice. But
it's a game that's sort of like influence on it in a way. But my number 1 is a pirate-themed game called Riff Raff.
Yes.
Yes? I love Riff Raff. Riff Raff is a great... Have you ever played it, James? Know of it? Anything?
I have not played Riff Raff.
So Riff Raff is quite a gorgeous-looking game in a way, isn't it? It's literally like on a board where it kind of goes up in a triangular thing, and on top of it is a wooden pirate ship. So delicate. The slightest touch can make it move, sway, go any other way. What you do is every player has a card numbered 1 to 10. Okay? You have 8 pieces of... loot. It's loot or some sort, isn't it?
Yeah, something like that.
And they're all different types. Either like they're very light, they're very heavy, they're very big, they're very small. All random sized in the 8 you have. And on the boat, it's simply there are numbered parts on there. So 1 to 4 is on the deck of the ship, and all the others go up where the flags are and stuff like that. You'll dish out a card out, you 1 to 10, and you'll just place it on. Everyone do it one at a time. So mine might be 10, yours might not be 7, Jason's might be number 3. You go from highest first because highest goes at the top. So I'll place a piece on there, you'll do a piece on there, and obviously try not to rock the boat, knock it off. There are other little rules to this. This sounds quite simple to simply show a card, put the piece on there. But if, for example, you pull a piece on there and everything falls off, you now own all those pieces. The aim of the game is to do 10 rounds to get 8 pieces on the boat. But if everything falls off, you now have got maybe 11 pieces now to try and put on in less than 8 rounds, okay? But if you happen to catch the piece as it falls down, it is disqualified off the board and you might have even less stuff to put on there now.
Right.
So there are other nice little mechanics to it, but it's just the intensity of trying to get that piece on there without rocking this thing and everyone else's loot is going to come off and go on your board, whatnot. It is so much fun, and it's like, it's only 4 players, but there are times where people just come around the table, look at it and be like, you know what, I want to play this. So you do it in teams and whatnot. It's just great. It's a gorgeous game. Yep. Simple thing, literally put that on there, that on there. There's another rule where if you've got a piece on there before, you can put and add another piece to it, so you can do it all at once. But again, it's all just a gamble because this boat is so fucking delicate. It is unreal. It's massive, but it's so delicate, and it can go sway either way. It's not just back or forward. It can go side to side, whatever. Genius idea. Simple little thing. Number 1. Yeah, it's the reason why it's on there. You need to give it a go, dudes. Honestly, it's such a quick game. It's so fucking quick.
You have sold it to me because I want to play it now.
It's like Jenga face-fucked buckaroo.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Literally, yeah. That's how I should have put it, really. I shouldn't have said number 1 was buckaroo. It should have been someone just face-fucked buckaroo. That's literally it. I can't explain anything else to it. That's how simple the game is.
Yeah, I'm sure I've played it at least once in the past. But it's so
quick,
so long ago. But yeah. I would love to give it a go again because again, this
less than 20 minutes, if that.
Yeah,
just like one.
Really good choice.
But does anyone have any honourable mentions? Anyone throw in anything like that, or just leave it there?
I have a couple.
Go for it.
So James has covered one of them. Was Cobra Paw. I was going to bring that up. I would like to chuck in Ticket to Ride as well.
Sure.
I think that's a pretty good family game as well. I'm not going to go into details about it.
There are junior versions of that, though, isn't there?
There are junior versions of that as well. Age is not a problem with Ticket to Ride. I also put down Meeple Land as a honourable mention. One of the ones it's close to making my list, but it's just too many faults for the game for me to put it in the top 5, which was Nickelodeon Splat Attack.
Okay.
Now, Nickelodeon Splat Attack, you are playing as Nickelodeon characters, and you're having a food fight.
Okay.
It's great fun. The kids love it. There's little miniatures of the actual characters, and it's as simple as you're playing cards to I'm going to throw this pie at you, and it does. It's 4 splats. Yeah. So you have bags with a number on it, and you put your hand in. It's like a Tetris type thing. You pull a piece out, and then you have to fit it on a character. Once the character is completely covered in food, they are out of the game.
Yep.
You have 4 characters. It's done. Once you get through all 4 characters, or 4 characters dead, you're out of the game completely. And if you're playing a 2-player game, the other person wins.
Sure.
That can be played up to 8 players with the relevant expansion. Short of that, it's 4 players. Really, really good game. Unfortunately, it does have a few issues with supply because I had a real issue getting the game to start with. It was a Kickstarter, and then they sent the wrong rule books, and then it was a mess. It was IDW. Unfortunately, that is a company that has now gone bankrupt.
Is it? Oh, okay.
So, that company doesn't exist anymore. However, the game is still available, so that's a pretty good one. Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion.
You had to throw it in, didn't you?
It was very close to being on the list. Very good game.
Are you a fan of Scooby-Doo, by the chance?
I am, actually.
Oh, there we go. That makes sense now.
Scooby-Doo Escape from the Haunted Mansion. I originally bought this because I thought it was a Scooby-Doo version of Betrayal at House on the Hill.
Sure.
Well, there is a Scooby-Doo version of that.
Is it really?
This was not the game. This is actually more of an escape room style game.
Right.
So that's really, really good. Won't go into any more details. It's an escape room game. I can't tell anything about that. And the final one I want to talk about is Rollercate, which, again, my son absolutely loves. It's a little box game, card game, with a little metal wooden train. You are playing cards from your hand to extend the track to stop the train from coming off. It is a player versus player.
Yeah.
Once you've placed that, there's like little numbers in the tops of the cards. If, for example, I've placed a 3, I've got to roll 3 dice. And for each train wheel that shows, the train moves 1 card forward. If it goes off the end of the track, I take a penalty by taking a card from the end of the track. It goes in my discard pile. Once all cards are used at the end of the game, you add up the points values of the cards that you've got in your hand. Whoever has the least wins.
Okay.
Really, really simple. That one I'd probably say 10 and up.
Okay.
For the whole scoring system, it's a bit more complex to try and understand it. But my little one loves playing it. He doesn't understand the scoring part of it. He just likes
to play it.
To play it and have the train moving up the track and screwing over his dad. So
wouldn't have it any other way.
He's quite good at it as well.
He's very, very good at it.
Nice.
So yeah, that's all my honourable mentions. Have you got any?
I don't think I've got. I played enough to have honourable mentions. It's just sort of like most of the games that I play are from Jason's collection,
Sure.
so it's just sort of like we play family style games when Dylan is down. Basically.
Yeah. But you still play them at the end of the day.
Yeah,
so it's the main
aside
thing.
from a few odd ones like Cora Quest, which see the table a bit more often.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't really have any.
No,
mentions
fair enough.
there.
No, it's nice. I think I've only got a couple myself, which is Bermuda Pirates was a good one.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed that, playing that with the little one. And then you gave us a copy of the first Castle Panic as well.
First Castle Panic, yeah.
Again, that's a nice little one for it to play. We played a game. It's done by the guys that did Runner Hero. It's Dragon's Breath. I don't know if you've ever heard of it.
I know that one, yeah.
With the gems and stuff. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a nice little one that we like playing as a family as well. And obviously Crokinole, the big guy. My family are always asking to play that bastard at the end of the day. I don't know why. I just might like to give it to him at the end of the day. To be honest, he's not even happy to see me. He just wants to see that board.
Yeah.
So that's another one I mentioned. But one you sort of mentioned about the ghost game that wasn't Scooby Doo.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I have the original of it, but we recently bought the revamp of it. Was Ghost Castle. Mm-hmm. It's very much near enough the same thing. Yeah. Roll dice, move. Obviously, you don't locate your gems, but you're going up to the top of the tower, whatnot. Yep. We really enjoyed that as well.
It's a great game.
Yeah, it's a nice little classic fun. Brought back to they need to do it with a couple of older games, to be honest. But yeah.
I think they're slowly getting there. Obviously, we've now got the reprint of Hero Quest, which is wank.
Not the original, the reprint.
The reprint is terrible. No, the game is exactly the same.
Right.
Which had its flaws back in the day, and they didn't rectify them.
Broadsword.
But the quality of the stuff...
Oh, is it that bad?
It's terrible.
Is it really?
Bad.
And shocking.
That's what happens when Hasbro gets hold of it.
Exactly, yeah. But yeah, they're slowly getting through it. We are seeing reprints of the Ghost Castle. You've got Hero Quest. Games Workshop are reprinting games, but they're naming them something different now from all of their old games. Like, you always had Hero Quest, you had Warhammer Quest, that's been reprinted.
Oh, I didn't know
as
that.
well. I think it's still called Warhammer Quest, but it's their usual MO of it's Warhammer Quest something, something, something bollocks. They have to add a tagline onto it.
Okay.
They can change it to modular tiles.
They'll never know it's a reprint.
They'll never know that it's a reprint. But yeah, we are seeing these games
slowly
get
coming
reprinted, and I like that. I do think that there is a place for reprints of games, even if they don't change them.
Well, they do it with Atmosphere. Atmosphere just had a Kickstarter, didn't it, or something?
It did, yeah. So, we are seeing these things, and there's a Crystal Maze game.
No way!
Well. And I've not played it yet. I want to play it because, nostalgia.
Yeah. Nostalgia.
There's nothing better than nostalgia. But
That's it.
yeah, I think if you combine...
Do you remember when we used to have...
I remember. Bit of South Park.
Never said that in South Park.
But yeah, I think if you combine the games that we talked about in the games under £15 and this list, they all work as family games. I can't think of any games that were in my under 15 that wouldn't work with families.
Yeah,
So
I would agree with that.
Yeah, like I said earlier, like with Skyjo, you mentioned that last season. Again, I guess that's another honourable mention. It's a game I gave a chance with them, and thanks to you guys, it's another family-friendly game that keeps getting asked to be played at the end of the day.
One that I definitely do need, and I'll include it as an honourable mention, is Snake Oil. I've only ever played it once. I can't remember exactly how the game was played, but I remember when I did play it during lockdown, I thought to myself, like, my son would love this.
Sure.
And I remember looking at the time, but at the time you couldn't get it. I now know that it is available here, but I still haven't bought it to retry it and refresh my mind. But
Sure.
potentially Snake Oil. That's another one that could be
Nice.
a good family game. So, yeah.
So good choices there, guys. I've literally got 9 new games I need to play now. It would have been 10 if you didn't clash. So at least I'm 1 down. That's all right. But yeah, we need to dish them out. Get to the club. I'll come to the club and
definitely
give those all a try, please.
Like,
yeah.
if we can come
Happily get any of those to the table.
Yeah. And if we can arrange, like when my son's down and stuff, if I can arrange a family game day with you as well, we'll try and get
set it
that
up,
to
mate.
happen.
Let's do this. Get Riff Raff on the board.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's so many games we need to get to the table.
This is it.
Too many.
We'll get it done. We got it done last time, didn't we? When we did the 15 the cheap games.
Yes. Still need to get you to play Zoography though. It's the only one.
Oh yes, that was the one we only didn't do, wasn't it? Yeah. But Meeple-minded guys, James, thank you so much for coming back on again. Really, really do appreciate you coming down, guys. If you love your board games, into it, please give those guys a listen. They know their stuff, and you know every episode is really entertaining. There's even ones where I've shouted at the radio because of certain debates that they have. Please give them a listen. Meeple-minded on any streaming platform that you listen to podcasts on. So in the meantime, guys, again, thank you very much, guys, for coming back on.
Thank you
very much.
Thank you.
So, guys, if you like what you listen to, follow us on Facebook at the M.T.V.B Podcast, on Instagram at M.T.V.B Podcast, on TikTok at M.T.V.B Podcast 197, or on Twitter at M.T.V Podcast 1. I'm your host, Anthony, joined by
Jason
and James.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Meeple-minded. And we'll see you soon, guys. Good night.
for having us. Goodbye.
Bye.